So that all makes a lot of sense for people that are proactively looking for your solution, your answer, whatever. But um, that's not everybody that could do business, or it's that I'm so new, I'm so unique that people don't even know that underwater basket weaving is a thing. So nobody's going to be searching for me in the first place, not even for the brand name for sure because it hasn't launched yet, or it's a idea that doesn't exist and I'm the first person to think of it, and therefore we need to go tell the world about it. So the proactive approach is you go look for the right people. So instead of search engine marketing, which is being found when they're looking, you go find them where they are, and that is hanging out on social media. So, social media is more of a proactive outreach, and it really breaks down into two separate approaches, kind of like search engine marketing is two separate approaches. You've got the paid and the organic, same idea on social media, which is paid and organic. Organic first is profile management, your content calendar, scheduling that out, posting, the graphic design of the images, the topics, the articles, anything that is going to be shared to the wall is your organic. Also means answering audience questions, comments, likes, all that kind of stuff, being able to engage your audience directly. That is organic. The other part is mainly the focus of most marketing because the days of making a post and having it seen by everybody that follows your account or has liked your account, whatever it's called for whatever that platform is, being shown to everybody, those are long gone. Back in the olden days, sure, if you made a post, it would be shown to all 100 of your followers. However, once enough people came on board, those platforms started realizing, hey, we've got the audience here, and I bet the people who are making a living off of their audience, if we start putting even their followers behind a paywall, they'll pay for it. So now your followers will see about 5% of your posts from an organic standpoint. So if you had 100 followers, you make a post, 5 followers are going to see it. Oh, you want the other 95 people that want to hear from you to hear from you? Well, you got to pay us to boost that post. So even the organic side is still pay to play. So if you want to do digital marketing for social media, doing it purely organic is near impossible. So there you go. That's the organic side. The advertising side is a totally different creature. Most people that talk to me, I hear the exact same story. The details might be different, but if they say, "Well, we've tried social media marketing and it doesn't work for us. We didn't really think it was valuable." I dig in and I know the answers before they do, which is basically that they invested maybe 20, 50, $100 in boosting organic posts or trying to run an ad for a week and then didn't get any sales from it, and then they conclude social media just doesn't work. It's not that they're inexperienced, they don't have the skills and don't understand that whole journey, and therefore they tried to launch a rocket with maybe 2 seconds of fuel and then wondered why they didn't get to the moon. No, no, it couldn't be that. It's social media marketing that's busted. Sure. So if your paid advertising should be successful, at minimum, you're looking at 4 campaigns. And think of a campaign as a goal or an intended outcome or a focus. And the first one is brand awareness. You just need to keep showing up in their timeline often enough before they are consciously aware of you for the first time. I saw this very early on doing college shows, doing the mind reading shows, I would send posters to the student activities, and then they would ask, "Do you have extra designs?" I was like, "I can make them," and very quickly I learned why, which is they were telling me, "Yeah, you gotta have like 5 or 6 different designs and then put them up everywhere because the first 10 times they see any of them, they're not even going to notice. It's just kind of background static. But then after they've seen it enough, they start to recognize it and go, oh, that looks cool." So you have to be um, in order to be visible, you have to show up again and again and again. It can't just be the first time, they're not going to be consciously aware of it. So you've got to pay to be in front of them for enough times, over enough time, for them to consciously recognize that you are a brand for the first time. Then you continue showing up so that they feel comfortable enough to go, yeah, that kind of sounds familiar. Then they will notice the second campaign, which is your call to action. And that is usually, hey, come check us out. Here's a 10% off discount. We've got a spring sale, or whatever the reason, no matter what the incentive is. It might even just be that this is a very relevant article to your interest or industry or whatever. Whatever that call to action is, it gets them from the platform over to your website. And that's its sole goal. And one big problem is when people just starting out try to do both of those things together. They try to say, here's who we are, here's what we're about, and come check us out. And you're trying to give them two jobs to do, so they're going to do neither. So that's why the brand awareness has to be very focused on just education, promotion. There's that thing. And then the call to action is very clear. Hey, since you know about us, here's this thing that you're interested in, and then get them to your website. But specific to like if you were selling t-shirts or any kind of thing that's not the home services, the plumber, the electrician, those kinds of urgent problems. Those urgent problems are utilitarian purchases. If I don't fix this, then I lose my house value. Everything else falls into hedonic purchases, which are just for fun. I could do without this. I would like to have it, but I don't need it. Well, those hedonic purchases, at the fastest from when they visit the website to when they pull the trigger and actually buy something, that's about a 2 to 3 week window. So that 3 weeks is when they're slowly making up their mind at the best, right? Like that's the fastest. If you're doing everything perfectly, you're still looking at about a 3 week window from the first time they visit to when they buy something. And that's why most people drop the ball for social media marketing, because they visit the website, your potential customer visits your website, and then 95% of visitors will do nothing on their first visit. They might scroll down, maybe, but for the most part, they'll land and go, all right, that looks cool. I'll come back when I have the time, and then close out. Or they'll poke around and then go, oh, I got to get back to work. And then my lunch hour is over. I'll come back. And then they close out. So then, if you don't have your social media marketing set up, well, that's the last time they ever think about you. And then 3 weeks later, when they would otherwise be ready to buy something, they've forgotten about you completely because that's way old news. So, the third campaign, again, the first one is brand awareness, the second one is a call to action, the third one is retargeting. And that is a special flavor ad that is only shown to people that have visited your website but have not yet bought anything. There's some advanced technical wizardry that happens behind the scenes to make all that happen, which is really cool, but again, that's kind of beyond the scope of just this introduction that I wanted to share with you. So those retargeting ads are where most of your conversions are going to come from. Most of your dollars from social media marketing come from retargeting ads. So that is the subset of people that have known about you, checked you out, but haven't bought yet. That's it. So then you just keep showing up in their feed, in their sidebar, and then they're just getting more and more familiar with you as a company, with the brand. Then at about 3 weeks in, they'll be like, yeah, you know what? Let me go ahead and pick that up. I'm in this world. I do this for a living, and these social media ads still work on me. I got a travel pocket sundial from social ads. I've bought watches off of this. Like, I still am susceptible to these retargeting efforts, and even when I know what they're doing, it's still that familiarity. So it's really effective. So that is the three-step process. And the fourth campaign is a budget set aside um, for boosting some of that organic content that did get the amount of engagement that you're looking for. So if it did well, even on the organic side, even with the algorithm being what it is, then you've got a reasonable expectation that if we put some money behind it to get it more visibility, it will continue to get engagement instead of just eyeballs. So that is the kind of four-pronged approach for running ads. So then the kind of next step is always, well, how expensive is this going to be? And that is a very complicated answer to a very simple question. But broad strokes is that at minimum, for those four campaigns, imagine that you've got two ads. So your focus is brand awareness. And then you've got two ways of helping people be aware of your brand. So uh, ad A, ad B. And maybe they've got the same image, but different ad copy, different words to incentivize people to know about you. So then you run both of those at the same time for a couple of weeks to see which one is more successful, which one got more clicks, which one got more eyeballs, what was more responsive. Well, whichever one that is, turn this one off after 2 to 3 weeks and then focus on that. Develop another one that you think is even better and continually A B test those ads. So, just to make the math easy, imagine you've got four campaigns, you're A B testing, so that's two ads under each campaign. So, that's eight ads total. So, if you've got $2,000, then that is $500 per campaign divided by two. So, that's $250 per ad. Then divide that by 30 days. So, that's about $8 per day. And if you are at 20 cents per click or impression or whatever, that is very, very low exposure. So, in order for you to have enough people seeing your ads to be statistically significant, to know which ad is better than the other, it's going to take way too long before you know which one's effective. And that is why underfunding your efforts can't succeed, because you're kind of setting the upper limit of what the market has determined a click is worth. Because again, it's not just how well you're designing your ads, it's not just how compelling your copy is, it's also who is your competition and what are they investing on the platform to reach that audience. So it's not just what you want to spend, it's not just what you can spend, it's what you need to spend to be competitive when bidding so that your best efforts are competitive from a budgetary standpoint to win the views on Facebook or Instagram or Pinterest or Twitter or anything like that. So that's kind of the behind the scenes of how paid marketing happens on social media. And every industry is different. The going rates are different. The long term strategies are different, but the principles are the same. People have to know about you, they have to be familiar with you to come check you out. Then you follow up with them over the sales cycle, however long that process is. That's how long your retargeting should be. And then boosting your organic posts to make the organic algorithm happy. Now, there's one detail about retargeting that I want to go over, which is retargeting is a broad umbrella for following up in an ad form. You can do retargeting with the Google Display Network, which is PPC, and through your paid efforts on social. However, if you're getting a freelancer who just says they're good at retargeting, they're just making it up to sound smart, because there's no way that you're going to be good at social and be good at PPC to do the same thing, because they're two completely different audiences, two completely different setups. So I would love to be proved wrong by a freelancer who could do that, but my bias here, coming from the agency background, is that a freelancer, if they were really that good, they would be picked up by an agency and then put into one or the other for whichever one they're actually good at. So if you go somewhere and just say, I want retargeting, you should be more specific. I need help with my social media retargeting, or I want to appear on Google's display network for brand awareness and retarget that way. So that's kind of how the whole machine fits together, which is your website is the conversion tool, so that when they visit from PPC or SEO, or from social, organic, something that somebody shared, or from something you paid, they get to your website and they don't convert because it's a conversion machine. But even then, 5% might be gangbusters. So, wow, that's amazing, 5%. Well, the other 95% gonna need a little more love. So, you can focus on social media showing up where they're going to show up most often, or the display network for when they're off the social media platform and browsing around, that they keep seeing you in the sidebar of their most familiar and trusted websites. So that's kind of the whole marketing thing all together for the visibility and getting those conversions to your website for that email sign up, the phone call, or what have you. So those are the general ideas for social media, how it's paid and organic together, because your organic management is kind of like your storefront. If the last time that you posted was 8 months ago, and then they see an ad today, they click over to your profile to see, hey, when was the last time they posted? 8 months ago. Yeah, I guess they went out of business in 2020, right? So that's why the tempo is a little faster on the social media side, and it can feel like I got to keep up with the Joneses. But you don't have to worry about that, because your ideal customer or client has a platform that they prefer. And if you've done your homework on me, you'll know that I'm almost never on Facebook. I rarely post there because my folks aren't there. It's either LinkedIn, where I am more active, or on Twitter, where I make the most professional networking relationships for referral work. But LinkedIn is where the people who sign my checks for my Fortune 500 consulting, that's where they live. So I'm more regular on LinkedIn. I'm more casual but active on Twitter, because high verbal, ideas based, that's where Twitter lives. Like, that's Twitter's home base. Facebook is more relationships and pre-existing relationships. One one way I heard it put was, Twitter is where you go to fall in love with strangers and respect their ideas. Facebook is where you go to learn to hate people you love, or friends and family go way back, right? So that's everybody's on Facebook. That's kind of the default for marketing and advertising, but other platforms might serve you better. So, if you have any other questions or ideas about social that I didn't touch on, there's a whole lifetime's worth that we could dig into. So, again, comment on this video, put it in the course group or in the general area so that more people can see it. So there you go. That is social media in a nutshell.